Y'all know it's hard for me to be quiet. What we waiting on?
All right, here we go. We live now, ladies. Today is September 15, 2020. Welcome to another episode of the Marvin Bennett Jr. Show. As usual, dear Heavenly Father, we thank you, God, for allowing us to see another day that we weren't allowed to see before. Thank you, God, for the strength. God, I thank you, guys, for tonight's guests. Thank you, God, for their stories. Most of all, God, I thank you for their testimonies. I got actually tonight, as we share the information tonight, we actually got that you will bring awareness. And we actually got that you continue to comfort and keep those that are struggling in these difficult situations. In Jesus' precious name we pray. Amen. Like I said, welcome to another show. Tonight's show is going to be about awareness. Before we kick it off, though, I want to give a special shout out. Happy anniversary to Ed and Val on their 30th anniversary. Congratulations. Happy for you guys. Might see you guys this weekend on the celebration. We don't know. We'll see. But tonight's episode is going to be about awareness. We're going to be talking about different diseases and awareness. Up first, tonight I have my guest, Tamara Perry. Me and Tamara went to high school together and been friends for almost 30 years now. Quite a long time. But Tamara is a breast cancer survivor, and I'm going to give it over to Tamara so she could share her story a little bit, who she's, what about her.
Hello, everyone. Well, my story started as my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2006, and she went through it for 3 years, and she passed January 3rd of 2009. She was 54. So I took care of my mother every step of the way. Like, I actually stopped working. I didn't leave the bedside. I slept in the hospital with her. So this was not an illness that I didn't know about or that I was uneducated to. And then 3 years after my mom passed, I was diagnosed in 2012. And I had my first bilateral mastectomy in September 27th of 2012. And so in 2 weeks or so, I'll be 8 years cancer free.
Thank God.
Yeah, so God has been truly good, truly faithful to me. I have been faithful to God, and just trusting in Him. It was a long road. My story is, I did not have to have chemo. I did not have to have radiation because I'm a walking testimony that early detection is truly the best.
Okay.
And so because it was early and because my mother, she had triple negative breast cancer, which is a lot of really prevalent in African American women, is like a little bit harder to treat. Her doctors, which were my doctors, watched me very closely. And so we have to, what I have learned through this walk and doing that, we really have to be uh, our own advocate for your own health. And when the doctors say no, if you don't feel well, if you have symptoms with something, you really have to be very persistent and be like, no, something's not right. I need to do this. I need to do that. And a lot of people are fearful, but fear will stop you from doing everything, including living. Yeah. And then when you go and get your diagnosis because you were scared and yet you didn't do something, things are harder to treat. Maybe if you're talking about breast cancer or cancer, it may have spread, which is metastatic breast cancer. So you kind of make your journey a little bit more difficult when you don't go, and get treated and take care of your own, your own health. But with my mom, and then I was diagnosed. I started a breast cancer foundation for my mother, the Ramona Lynn Beasley Foundation. Mm-hmm. And I got to talk to people and reach out to them and be reachable and teach them as far as being a healthcare provider, being a healthcare a caregiver, a caretaker, taking care of my mom. Okay. And then after 3 years, every year I would give a annual breast cancer benefit dinner. And after the third year, I was able to not only speak to people as a daughter who has lost their mother, I got to speak to people as a survivor. I also work in healthcare. So I get to see, and I have seen both sides as the caretaker, the caregiver, the patient, and the healthcare worker. You know, so I know it's kind of, it's definitely a passion of mine when it comes to sickness and taking care of people.
Okay. And now go back for me for a second. You said your mom was diagnosed with a triple negative?
Yeah, triple negative breast cancer.
So in other words, there are different degrees within each level.
Right, like they're different. Yeah, yeah. She had that one. By the time my mother found out, no, the first time my mother had breast cancer, she chose not to have a mastectomy. She got a lumpectomy, where they just moved the spot, and then the 2 years later, it came back and it spread to her liver. And she had a mammogram done in May. And then by August, she was experiencing pain in her stomach by August and September. And that's when we found out that it had came back and went to her liver. And so we thought we did everything. We thought we covered everything. And she got her mammogram and she was, clear. She was in remission. And then at that point, right after that, it came back. So at whatever time after the May, when she had her mammogram, it must have, the cancer cells leaked out to her liver and it spread from there.
Wow. Man, so sorry. She was so young.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, very young.
you said you're 8 years now. So before you, because I know you got to go, you're at work now. Now I really thank you for taking our time to do this, and I really appreciate it because I really wanted to do this show to bring awareness to some of the things that we're struggling with. Not just as Black people, but people in general, and for people that care and people that are in our lives. I think a big part of awareness is actually people like you, which is why I applaud you, actually sharing your stories. Because, sometimes when we go through these different things that are tough on us emotionally, physically, mentally, we don't want to share it. We don't want to share with others. But there's kind of a burden in that because it's like, it's a gift and a curse. You don't want to be looked at as the victim. But at the same time, people don't really go about how to help you if they don't know that you have a problem, so to speak.
Right.
So, what are some of those things that you could give us? Like you said, you've been a survivor. You've been all phases. So, as a caregiver, having someone in your life like that, give us some of those things that we could help to, help somebody that's going through this, to help them show that they have the support that they need.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, I think one is just the relationship and the bond that I have with my mother. I took care of her, and so that was this breast cancer. It was a disease that I made sure that I learned about, and it was new for me and my family. We didn't know my brother. We didn't never had to deal with that. We had sickness in our family, but never cancer, and so we learned about it, and me and my brother stuck together and we took care of my mother. And so after that, because she had it, when it came my turn, I almost felt like my mother was still being a mother in death, because she had even said to me, if this happened to you, she told my doctor, you make sure you remove your breast. I didn't do that. You make sure you remove your breast, and so, and she would say, I don't wish chemo on my worst enemy. And so because my doctors were so, adamant about, after my mom passed 3 years back to back, I went for a mammogram and I had a lump in my breast. And it wasn't found it was found through the mammogram, but it was more so picked up on the MRI. And it was really like a speck. And so I had to go and do biopsies. Now, somebody else would have said, another doctor probably would have been like, oh, well, you know what? It's small. It's really nothing. Usually they say wait till after your period and this and that. But because of my mom and her history, and then I said, no, I want to make sure. So each time, even though through the fear, and trust me, none of my doctors want to see me coming. I hate needles. Everybody on Facebook who know me, every nurse, doctor, I cry like a baby. But guess what? I go to the doctor like I'm supposed to. And so each year I had to have a biopsy, which was painful. My cousin came and sat with me. My girlfriends came and sat with me through procedures, but I had to get it done. And then the last time it was, but I was so happy because even though I didn't want to do it, but I had doctors who cared. And then I'm like, I want to live. And my mother said to me, you make sure you do what you need to do. And so I had to do that. Um, and so you just have to really be persistent in your own health. And when you're taking care of other people, you have to ask questions. If you don't know something, you have to ask questions. So what I did was through my own story, my journey with my mother and myself, all the things that I did not like and all the things that I didn't know, I made it a promise to make sure that I share it. So with my breast cancer foundation and meeting so many people who had breast cancer, and speaking and doing the breast cancer walks. I do every walk every year. Sometimes I do 2 and 3 walks a year, and fundraising. Um, you learn different things, and you learn, okay, so the next time comes. So every person who I've helped in this journey went through similar things, but you like, okay, I just always felt like, okay, I have to do, this happened before that it didn't work out. So now the next person, okay, this needs to work out. So you really have to, ask questions. And for me, I try to help everybody and encourage everybody and don't keep my story. And there's other people out there who have went through much worse than I ever could have gone through. But you still have to want to live, you have to pray, you have to surround yourself with positive people. And some of the things I like to tell like patients who are going through cancer treatment and stuff, and it's easy to get depressed, but you cannot stop trusting God, and you cannot stop having faith, and you have to look at the end goal. And so the end goal is, all right, the biggest part is feeling something, going to the doctor. And then you're like, okay, so now you're waiting for that appointment. You're waiting, your nerves, you got butterflies in your stomach, you get diarrhea, your whole body is just messed up. So you go to that doctor's office and you're like, okay, this is the plan, what you need to do. You go get a biopsy, you go get a mammogram. So then now what you do, you go home and we wait again. And so one of the worst feelings is getting that phone call and say, your results are here. They don't tell you results over the phone. So then now you have to wait for your appointment to go back to the doctor. So when you go there and you're sitting there, and the biggest blow is them telling you you have cancer. And the first thing you think of is like, I remember saying, I'm going to die. I'm going to die. And then I remember my cousin saying, and my girlfriend Keisha saying to me, and my best friend, like, no, don't speak like that. You're not dying. But it's like the initial thing. And for me, I just lost my mother to this 3 years ago. Yeah. So now you're telling me this is what I have, and so it was, very, very, devastating for me, but I had to pick myself up. And so I always tell people the biggest blow is knowing. So now after you go through all those emotions and being angry and crying, you have to say, you ask yourself, I want to live. So now it's time to fight. And so you have to surround yourself with people who are down for the fight. And that doesn't mean I want somebody with me who's falling apart. Or people who is asking you, are you okay? Are you okay? Or calling you and asking you every day about whatever you're going through. You want that same conversation. Hey girl, you watch the stories? Or hey girl, did you watch Power? Or hey girl, did you do this? Did you do that? Did you catch that cell? You want those kind of conversations. Not every conversation you need to be reminded that you're sick or that you're going through something. And you want to be able to get phone calls where people are going to uplift you. Mm-hmm. And sometimes if it takes, and I tell so many people, when your family is falling apart around you, kick them out. You say, you know what, please come back when you get yourself together. Because how does that, and then I tell people, how does that help the patient? If you think about it, if I found out that when I found out I had breast cancer, and everybody coming, of course, initially, everybody's going to be upset. Everybody's going to be crying. But then at that moment, I have to get strong because now I'm facing a huge surgery. I have to be strong. So you have to surround yourself with people who are going to uplift you and encourage you and be like, you know what? So when they see you getting down, they can lift you up. You can't be the patient and you find yourself lifting everybody else up off the ground. And sometimes you have that where you have people who are just not strong and they just be so overwhelmed. But you have to enjoy every minute, every second, every moment, and be like, okay, I'm still alive. What's the next plan? Because when you're upset, when you're angry, when you're at the doctor's office and you're getting, results and you're getting the plan of care and stuff like that, when you're so nervous and distraught, how do you even hear what he's saying? And then if you're taking somebody with you who is just as bad as you are, then nobody hears nothing. And sometimes how many of us leave the doctor's office and be like, what did he say? Or what did she say? Or be like,
Your mind
oh,
is somewhere else.
You know what? Let me call. And my best friend used to say to me, Tamara, you go to the doctor, write everything down. And that really does help before you go to the doctor. Write down all your questions. And so when you go to the doctor, you get to sit there and say, what about this? What about this? You cross off your questions because you're in the doctor's office and you forget certain things. And you just have to have people, like I said, I'm going to keep saying, surrounding you who will keep you grounded. People who are going to keep praying for you. People who are going to keep, sending out those prayer warriors for you and fighting for you and interceding on your behalf and just surrounding yourself with love, and just like I said, people who just want to just uplift you and help you get through it. And then after you have surgery, that's a whole nother story because then you need help.
Yeah.
There's certain things you can't do after certain surgery, so you need help. And I'm just very grateful to have a wonderful family, a wonderful brother. My best friend, Dafina, who my best friend since sixth grade, when I had my first surgery, and my family, everybody was trying to see, okay, I couldn't do this, I couldn't lift my arms, I couldn't do anything. She had already took off 2 weeks for vacation. And while we all trying to figure out, and she said, don't worry, I will be with my sister. She took 2 weeks off already. I didn't even know that she had already planned her 2 weeks to stay with me. And that's exactly what she did. She helped me cook food. Well, she cooked for me. And, she was just such a great help. So you need that type of support. You need that type of support. And whether it's family or friends. And I had a host of family members, a host of friends and co-workers who really helped me through all of my surgeries that I've had. So, I'm very, very, grateful, grateful for that.
God is certainly good because there's no way in the world that you could possibly stay down having Dafina as a best friend, your sister, having her in your corner with that electrical smile. I tell people for ever since high school, Dafina's smile is magnetic. I have never seen anybody smile like Dafina.
Yeah.
So if you be down with her around smiling,
yes,
you on your way out of here.
yeah,
So shout out to
yeah,
Dafina too, yo.
yeah. So it's just good, like, just the support. Like, I had my cousin who was like my sister who came from Maryland, and just everybody who just really took care of me. Like, and I know all of my friends are nurses, and so thank you to all of them who really stepped in. And it's just me and my brother, and I always call people, certain people I'll call my sister. And then I used to be like, my God, like I have breast cancer, I have this surgery, I don't have a mother, I don't have sisters. Like I don't have. God sent me a multitude of sisters, a multitude of mothers to stand in the gap for me, which is truly a blessing. So I'm, very, like I said, I can't say enough, like how grateful I am. But one of the things is too, like you really have to be, if you get a diagnosis with anything, you really have to be educated in what you're going through. You have to know all the ins and outs of whatever illness that you have. So that way you can have a better understanding. I work in, surgery department, and patients come in and sometimes you ask them what they have and they don't even know.
Wow.
I don't know. The doctor told me to come in. They told me to be NPO after midnight. Like, and then you wonder sometimes, like, where are their family? But everybody does not have family that will go that extra mile and help them. But you really have to be able to be an advocate for yourself. If you don't have somebody else, you really have to be an advocate for yourself.
Gotcha. Wow. I definitely appreciate you, and I'm gonna give you your roses while I can. Know that I don't just like you. I got genuine love for you, T. Like
Yeah,
always
I know you
have.
love you too.
From the back in the day in the Honda Accord. Like I remember you was the first person that had a car. Like we ain't had to catch the 31 T coming up the hill. Like always, I mean, we go
Uh-huh.
back, and it's been love
Yes,
ever since then. You know what I mean?
yes.
So always know I'm in your corner. I'm one of those people that got your back. I'm just a phone call away. You ever need to
Mm-hmm.
cry? You ever need somebody just to be there and don't talk at all? Just somebody
Yeah.
that's on the phone. I'm here for you.
Yeah, thank
And
you for that. My job now is to really, I want to be able to uplift other people. And that's what I've been doing through my mother's journey and my own journey. I have been able to help so many people,
I,
so many people. And you just go 100, I go 100% if I say I'm in something to do it. And I just feel like when things that didn't work out for me, however they may have been, I just want the best for the next person,
got
the best for the next person. So,
That's the beautiful
you,
thing.
you want to live. You want
Yeah,
to live and and support the cause. And don't ever be like, oh, well, breast cancer people doing the walk and the money's not for nothing. And where the money go? And what's the sense of raising that money and this and that? But trust me, it does help because when my mother was diagnosed, she was she was only 51 and she didn't have, she worked 2 full-time jobs and everything. But when she got sick, she was able to get approved for so many things from transportation and everything. So it does help. And I always tell people, and then I always refer people, there's so many numbers. American Cancer Society is really the best. Like they will help you to no end. Susan G. Komen is also another one. You call them, they will give you, resources for different things. There's so many, like transportation, people who help will bring their medicine for pharmacy, home health aides. They will pay for light bills. A lot of people say, I'm going through stuff, I need my bills paid. I know people who have been going through, cancer, treatments, and they got their gas bill paid, they got their rent paid, all these things. So there are a lot of resources. So don't be, I like to tell people, don't be quick to say, well, there's been money been given for years and they're not doing anything. But it only takes one person. And I only can worry about what I do. And it only takes one person to make a difference and one person to make some type of change. So
gotcha.
it all starts with us.
Yeah. And just to show my support, that's why I got my pink on early. I usually wait to October, breast cancer awareness. I said, just because we're going to talk about this tonight, I'm going to come out with the pink vest.
I
Show you
love it.
that I'm
I
with you, yo.
love it.
Right. And know
Yeah.
that that's not just words. I'm really with you guys. And when you get
Yeah.
a chance to, if you can, please go back into the comments and put some of that Susan Kaufman, put the foundations out there nationally, but also put the information about if you're still doing your walks for your mom and honor your mom and ways that they can support that locally. And when those walks are coming up, be sure to let me know so I can advertise it on the show as well.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right. Appreciate you, girl. I know you got to get back to work soon, but know that I love you and we
Love
all
you
support
too.
you. One of the reasons
Yeah.
that I wanted to do this show in particular too was because I don't know how many people you out there viewing or when you may view this, but if you believe in the power of prayer, that is always a way to help. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whatever you believe in, pray for one another.
Yeah.
Send your energy, your positive energy, whatever your belief is. We all can use that right now.
Oh, yes.
I want to thank you
Yes.
for it in advance.
Yes.
All right, so up next, we have the lovely, talented, beautiful, vivacious
You're doing too much.
Noelle Owens. I gotta make sure I'll be nice to you because you quick to, you probably can reach out and cut me on the screen.
This
I'm not
mouth.
messing with you. But yeah,
This mouth.
you kind of go into your story. We know each other since high school as well.
Yeah.
And we already touched cancer, which has affected many people's lives. But you've been diagnosed with trigeminal neuralgia.
Oh my goodness. I thought we went over this. Then you didn't practice?
Man, I've been practicing all day. It's a new one on me. It's a new one. I try my best. Trigeminal neuralgia.
Trigeminal neuralgia.
That's what I said. I thought.
No,
That's
you
what I
said
said.
no.
I'm gonna
No,
watch the
lies.
playback.
Lies. You
Okay.
said something else. So it's also known as the suicide disease, and it's also known as the world's most painful disease.
Yeah. When I was
So,
researching earlier, it shows that 45,000 people in the United States are affected by it. So that's why one of the reasons I wanted to bring this up with us, because like I said, everyone knows about cancer or have heard it's cancer, but in a show doing about awareness, I wanted to bring awareness to this. So, you
right.
kind of go through the same thing. You could kind of explain a little bit what it is, the trials and tribulations of having it, what was it like to be diagnosed, and also things that people could do, your loved ones, as a support system to help you combat this.
So it was strange to me initially because what happened to me is I was asleep and I woke up to just this pain. And I honestly, it felt like I've got these candlesticks, right? So just imagine somebody hitting you upside the head with a candlestick or a brick while you're asleep. So I woke up to this pain, and I honestly, for a second, thought that somebody was attacking me because it was just unreal. So once I pulled myself together, I'm still feeling the pain, but it wasn't as bad. So I called my mother. I'm crying like a kid in kindergarten, like something's wrong. And it's like Tamara said, when you know something's wrong, really wrong. So it was something that I knew, okay, I'm not going to take Tylenol for this. This is beyond Tylenol. So went to the emergency room and they gave me, I'm just screaming, I'm in pain, and the pain was like right here in the back of my head, and it honestly felt like somebody was jabbing me with an ice pick. So they giving me morphine, they giving me, not right now, they give me a whole bunch of stuff, and it wasn't working for the pain. So then they called in a neurologist, ophthalmologist, all these different people, and thank God I was at Emory because it's a teaching hospital, so they had staff from all the departments, readily available. So I had an MRI, had all these tests, and then they realized that I had the trigeminal neuralgia and that the pain is a nerve pain. So with it being a nerve pain, morphine and all the pain medication that they were giving me in the IV was not going to touch it at all because I'm still screaming. So they ended up giving me a shot. It's called a headache cocktail. It's Toradol, Benadryl, and something else, and it kind of eased it. The next day, I got in to a specialist like immediately, and I was diagnosed with the trigeminal neuralgia / occipital neuralgia because you have the trigeminal nerve and the occipital nerve. So it's like I'm in pain 24 hours a day. The medication that I take dulls the pain. So with men, I can't describe it because I don't know what kind of pain you guys get, but like with women, I can only say it's like cramps, having cramps, and then you take Tylenol and the cramps don't go all the way away. It's just like it takes it down to a point where you can deal with it. Okay, come on. I'm sorry. We got to have a special guest. So, whew, so it was weird to be diagnosed with that because I had never heard of it. It was like, okay, I'm looking it up and I'm looking at videos, and it's like a suicide disease. And it's because most people can't deal with the pain past 2 years, they kill themselves. And the pain is excruciating. I've never felt anything like that in my life. I would rather have 4, 5 babies, 10 pounds, no epidural. It's unreal. But it's like, I was diagnosed in 2015. That's when it happened, September 5th, 2015. But living with the pain every day is just like now, I'm so used to, Marvin, I'm always laughing, smiling, or whatever. I'm so used to pretending to be okay that it's like I deal with it privately, but if I'm talking to somebody or whatever, you never know. You would never know I was
Which
in
we're
pain.
working on, though, right? Which we're working on, though, right?
Yeah, I guess. I
We
guess.
talk about that all camera later on.
Right.
But you got to do better. You got to let people know what you're dealing with, because people, like I said earlier, people can't help unless they actually know.
This is true. And that's why sometimes I post stuff about it, because I see a lot of people on my page, like if they say they're having a migraine, it might not be a migraine.
It might not be a migraine.
Right. It might be deeper than that.
Because if you don't mind, can you explain exactly what it is? Because in doing research for the show, I was watching one video and she was saying it was something with our eyeball, a nerve or something that's connected to the back of your brain, and it's almost like a discharge. And she was saying like the pain is so bad, it's almost like how you jump cables in the car.
Yes.
Sometimes you can feel like that in the back of your brain.
It feels like a shock. Yes. It feels like a shock. So like, I can't even do that. She's right.
There's
It feels
no
like
other pain that you ever experienced that's describable. That's sort of similar to that.
That's why the only way I could describe it was somebody. Just imagine somebody hitting you in the head with a baseball bat. Just that initial pain that you would feel like it's that all day. But what it is the trigeminal nerve is rubbing against a blood vessel. So there's a surgery to try to fix it, but some people it doesn't work. And with the surgery, you have to, they open up your skull about this big and they're working on your brain. So, whenever they're doing anything in your brain, because the pain is in your brain. So that's like when I tell people, that's why if I'm on Facebook, I never say I have a headache, because it's beyond a headache. I have a brain ache. It's a pain in my brain. So it's not like your typical headache that's around here or behind your, your sinuses. It's a pain that's in the back of my head. So, but it's the nerve rubbing up against a blood vessel. So with the surgery, they wrap Teflon around the nerve so that it's not rubbing anymore, but it's a temporary fix. And I just feel like I don't want anybody cracking my head open for a temporary fix.
Risky. That's very risky.
So now, the main medication for it is carbamazepine. I was taking the carbamazepine so long, for so many years, that it started affecting my kidneys and my liver. So they took me off of that. I don't know if you remember, in December when I wasn't feeling good, my liver levels were off. So they took me off of that. And now I'm on a different medication. It's called gabapentin. So these are nerve medications. So with the medication, I take like 8 pills a day. So it's like I got pills for the pain. The medicine side, one of the side effects is seizures. I have pills to keep me from having seizures, which I have every day, but they last like 2 seconds. They're not like the grand mal seizures. So it's like each medicine that I take offsets a side effect. Whew, this a lot. It's a lot. So, it's depressing. And I know it's like with me, if people follow me on Facebook or whatever, it's hard to tell, but it's very depressing because I got to pretend all day not to be in pain. So like if somebody call me and I really don't, 98% of the time, I don't want to talk on the phone. I want to lay in the bed, because the only time that I don't feel pain is when I'm asleep. It's the only time. But I walk around pretending to be okay to satisfy everybody else. But it's like, I'm saying that because people need to understand that when people have a condition, a disease or something that they're taking medicine for, that person is scared every day. It's not anything that I'm worried about dying from, but yeah, some days, it's been days that I've looked at my medicine and was like, man, I'm about to take all of this, like for real, because I'm tired. And it's not that you feel suicidal. It's like you just get these moments where you're human and you're tired. So
where it's just a lot to deal with.
It's a lot to deal with. And then like, I know one of your questions was, what can your family do? And for me, whenever I go to the doctor, my mother calls me. What they say? So what about this? Well, why aren't they doing this? Well, what about that? So how about why won't they try this? Or all these questions. And I'm like, I
So
don't
one of the
know.
ways that we can help is keep our questions to ourselves.
Well, not even that. It's like when somebody's asking you a question over and over,
Yeah.
because I have to talk to my mom. I call my dad, give him an update.
And
Just
your brother,
whoever.
you got what, 4 brothers, right?
I got a lot of brothers.
Yeah.
Let me drink to that. and the main one is a clown. So, but he keep me going. He keep me going. And so it's like it is what it is. When God give you something, you can't do nothing but deal with it. So it's like I wasn't scared because I was just like, okay, everybody, well, not everybody, but I don't complain because I look at little kids. It's little kids out here with one arm, no legs, and all types of stuff. And that's why I can't complain, because I think about I'm still able to go to work and live my life. I can't complain. So that's why I just choose to live my life, and not to say pretend that it's not happening. I just want to be normal. And I want, like, Tamara said, people treating you a certain way. I want to be normal.
You don't want to be treated like a victim.
Right. And then if I want to cry, I'm going to cry by myself. Or, I talk to God every day. That's what I do. But it's like 98% of the time, I'm pacifying and satisfying everybody else. I
And I
put me
really,
last.
really, really love the way that you worded that. What God gives you. I think about that. We talked about it. I was hoping she was going to be on, your cousin, our friend Roxanne. She's going through a lot. Kidney transplant survivor. She just goes through so much, and just what she goes through on a daily basis, it baffles me, because we look at our timelines and we crack jokes. I cracked a joke about power earlier. We talk about these things here, and we don't realize some of the things that some of the people that we love are actually facing and going through. I can't imagine having to drive 3-4 hours to the doctor,
Right.
3 states away, every day, every other day, and doing this like repetitively. Like, and the reason that she was actually the reason that inspired me to do this show, because I am one of those ones. I believe in the power of prayer, and I believe when the Bible tells us that we are overcomers by the words of our testimony. You know what I mean? So I like the word. I think you worded it perfectly. What God gives us, how can we complain about it? Because if you truly trust and you truly believe in God, there is nothing that God would allow to happen to you that is not according to his perfect will, that he can't bring you out of.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I can remember my mom would always ask me, even, back there in North, when we got time to get registered for the draft and all that. She says, "You're not scared to go to war?" And I remember responding to her, why would I be scared? Why would I be scared to go to war? Like, if God could keep me in the streets of Newark, he could keep me in Iraq. He could keep me in Turkey. He could keep me wherever. You know what I mean? Nothing is going to happen. I'm one of those foolish people enough that believe in God enough that nothing is going to happen to me that God does not allow. Which means that if he allowed it to happen, he can deliver me from it and through it. And through that is a blessing and encouragement. And he gets the glory because other people see it.
Right.
Now it gives other people hope. I seen somebody that's a breast cancer survivor in Tamara. I've seen somebody, like, now all of a sudden, God forbid someone say, next time they get what they consider a migraine, they go get tested and find out that you've been through it. Now, because of your story and you sharing your story, they finding out information that they didn't know before, and they're able to reach out to you so that you can help them. So, I even as far as salvation, and I'm not trying to preach, but even as far as salvation, I tell people all the time, salvation if that's what you believe in, salvation is not for you. You know what I mean? It benefits you, but it's not for you. Your salvation is for others. You see what I'm saying? Because as you surrender your life to God, it no longer becomes, it's like Christ. It's no longer I, but he that lives inside of me. So our lives are no longer become about us, but about the ones that we can help. You know, whether we ever meet them in person, whether they just high somewhere sitting in Chicago and just luckily find this here on Facebook. But it makes a difference in their life. So I love the word that you worded that, and I'm glad that you don't look at it as a burden. You look at it as something that God gives you, because guess what? He didn't just give it to you and just drop it off. He's there with you, like you said, in those nights. And the only thing I would say on a personal level is I'm gonna need you to start doing everybody else like you do me. Because when I call, you don't answer. So you don't put up no front with me. You gotta fake it and pretend like you're okay. You just don't answer. So when they call, just don't answer. Just stay in the dark. Let yourself recalibrate, get yourself together. Then if you feel like calling somebody back, call them back. You know what I'm saying? But we need you to take care of yourself, and we need you to share your story in this here so that, like I said, so we can help others.
You're right, but I don't do you like that. Sometimes I just be busy. But you're right. But
Nah.
I don't feel, it's like I think about it and I see more people dying on Facebook from heart attacks and diabetes and strokes and other stuff that's common. So sometimes I don't worry about me. The pain is rough, but I be praying for other people because I know that it's people really dropping dead from other stuff. And then for me to go through this, and I was so worried, like, oh my God, I'm gonna get corona. It's like so many people died from that, like that, who had plans this year. And every time I make a plan, I'm able to see it through. So it's that part too.
And like I said, this one thing this show is about awareness. It's not about making victims. It's not about sympathy. It's about educating, and it's about putting the information out there so that we can help one another.
Right.
You just explained about trigeminal neuralgia.
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 Right.
The world's most painful disease. How about that? I can't imagine what it would be like, one, getting diagnosed with something that nobody's ever heard of before.
Right.
Everybody thinks it's fake. I know, like in sports, one of the things that's a real common saying in sports is you can't never question nobody's health, if he's really injured or not. You know, somebody say, like, you can't question somebody else's pain.
Right, because you can't see it.
Exactly. You can't physically see it. There's no bruises, there's no nothing. So you can't, even with brain injuries and concussions, there's no way to. So is he really hurt? You know what I mean? Is it really that painful? So a lot of people don't really understand that. But I can't imagine being diagnosed with something of that magnitude that's so uncommon, and then finding out that you have a tumor on your brain. Can you just explain if that was real difficult for you?
Yeah. No, actually, yeah. So I went to get an MRI to look at my head, period, for the trigeminal neuralgia. Okay. And you know, just like Tamara said, you take a test, you gotta wait. I could see the results, and I saw the notes that the person, whoever read the scan, I saw what they said, but it was like maybe Friday, and I had to wait until like Monday or Tuesday to actually have a video appointment with the doctor. And so I'm like, okay, the doctor is telling me, oh, everything's fine, you're fine. And I'm in my mind like, wait a minute. I say, turn the page, because I'm looking at other, and the doctor wrote notes. She hadn't even looked at that. It's like she was gonna let me hang up the phone being okay. She hadn't even looked at the doctors, the whoever read the scan hadn't even looked at their notes. I was like, oh, what does this mean? It could be a pituitary. What is that? And I had already Googled it. So I'm just like, what is that? It's like a adenoma is another word for tumor. And then she's like, oh, and we had to go from there. So I was about to get another doctor, but I was just like, okay, she was really focused on my trigeminal neuralgia. She didn't even pay attention to the other note. But anywho, I have a pituitary adenoma, which is fairly common. Most people will go get a brain MRI for something else, and it's something that'll be picked up. So my vision is blurry, which is, you know, I've been wearing glasses since kindergarten, but to see you and to see my phone, I can't see it through my glasses. My vision is very blurry. So that was one of the reasons why I was going to get the MRI, was because my vision was being affected, and we were trying to see, was it something going on in my head, or was it something to the effect of the medication? Anywho, so the pituitary adenoma, brain tumor, any tumor in your head basically is a brain tumor. It's slightly pressing on my optic nerve, but not pressing on it to the point where I needed like emergency surgery. So right now where I'm sitting with it is they want me to come back in 3 to 4 months. They want to do another brain MRI and see if and how fast it's growing. I wasn't okay with that. I had to pull myself together about that for like a day or two, because my thing is that if it's in there, take it out. Take it out. Why do you want to see how fast it's growing? And then if it grows, you know how people say, oh, I had a brain tumor the size of a lemon. Who knows how fast it can grow? So I'm stressed, but again, something that God gave me to deal with, I'm gonna deal with it. I don't want everybody else to deal with it, but it's common. So 9 out of 10, if you go to get a brain MRI, if it was 10 of us going, 7 of us might have a pituitary adenoma. It might be little, it might be big, but it's something that you can have, like, how can I put this? You know how you might have somebody that's overweight, they only gain weight in their stomach, or somebody, they got a lot of chin hair, facial hair, whatever. This adenoma is sitting on your pituitary gland, and your pituitary gland has all to do with your hormones. I had a hysterectomy, so a lot of my hormones out of whack anyway, because I don't have female organs, you know. So I took the test to see if my hormones were all intact, which they are. So this tumor is a non-functioning tumor, meaning as it's not doing anything. It's just there. So that's why they want to see how fast it's growing. If it's not growing that fast, they would leave it there and monitor it for however long. But eventually, if it's growing, it will have to come out. The way they take the tumor out, they go through your nose. They don't have to crack your skull open, because it's like in your brain, but it's like right here behind your eyes. So yeah, I got trigeminal neuralgia and a brain tumor.
Now, is it talk of removing it? Like, is it something that you can live with? Is it?
So when I talk to the neurosurgeon, she wants to see how fast it's growing. If it's growing and it's pressing on your optic nerves, or it's bothering all of the nerves like behind your eyes or what have you, then they have to take it out. So right now, she's telling me that that's not the reason that my vision is blurred. So my grandmother has had glaucoma. So they're watching me for glaucoma to see if it's, you know, in the early stages of developing, because I'm 47. It's like, you know, after 40, you get a whole bunch of stuff going on just with age. So they're not it's not that she's not talking about taking it out. It's she just didn't want to rush and say, oh, this is an emergency situation because it's not causing me pain. That tumor is not the reason for my headaches. So they just want to look at it. So I'm going to give them until December and see. And then if they still talking about, you know, watching it, then I may have to just get a second opinion, you know. Luckily, I'm blessed to be able to fly somewhere and, you know, get that taken care of.
And just like I told Tamara, if you can, when you get a chance, go type it in. Just in a sense, you say I enunciated it so wrong.
Yes.
Type it in so the people could go out there and research it and study it and get some education on it.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things that I like that Tamara was saying was first and foremost to educate yourself, but when you're going through a lot of these things, you know, those questions that you might have, fears that you might have, go ahead and write them down. Because like I said, when you get to the doctor's office, your brain racing 1,000 miles a minute, and then you know they say the wrong word, neuro, and you just tune out, and now all of a sudden you ain't hearing everything else is just Charlie Brown from it.
Yeah,
So
and doctors have a way of, when you go in the office, one, they're trying to see you, but they also have their next patient waiting. So they have a way of taking over and kind of not letting you talk. But you know me, I email them 2, 3 o'clock in the morning and I be cussing. Because I have sent my neurologist email saying my MF and head hurting and this, that, and the third, this medicine ain't working and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I've gone off and had to apologize for it later. But she understands. We've been cool for 5 years. It is what it is. But she know I'll lose it.
I know you do too.
Because it's like if I do have like a flare up, because sometimes like right now, if I sit and be quiet, it just feels like somebody just pinching me or whatever. But if I'm having a flare up, I'm waking up the whole hospital. And so now my new treatment, I haven't gotten it yet, but now I'm gonna have to start giving myself injections in the stomach. She putting me on something, an injection. And so I'm waiting on my insurance to approve it, but I don't know how that's gonna go. I'm gonna have to make friends with a nurse somewhere because I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do that to myself.
I'll volunteer.
You better stop.
I ain't got no problem with shooting you in a needle.
I'm sure
and
you
I
would.
hate needles. I'm like, Tamara, I can't stand needles.
Don't forget we got a secret.
I know that's why I'm just offering help.
Listen,
I'm just offering help.
I might have gave Duchess away, but I can still go get her.
Please, I don't want no parts of Duchess.
That's right. That's right.
All right, so we're gonna wrap up real quick. But before we get to the wrap up, thank you, Lord, for reminding me. It just something that just dropped into my spirit. You said you're going back to you're gonna give them to December. Today is September 15th. Those that you are watching this, you remember the name Noelle in your prayers. And we're gonna believe God because we're gonna get a good report when we go back to the doctor in December.
Amen.
We're believing that. We're putting that out there right now. We're gonna speak that into existence.
And y'all stop aggravating your family members when they sick. Leave them alone.
Yeah. and I'm gonna wrap up. I am gonna wrap up, but I want to kind of both of y'all in the wrap up, if you can, kind of hit on that, because as an outsider, that's like a fine line. It's like, how do you kind of give you your space and at the same time without seeming not caring? You know what I mean? I understand the whole not badgering you with a whole bunch of questions, whatever. But if I had a mentality like hearing you, I would take the mentality like, well, she want me to leave alone, so I ain't gonna ask nothing. And I'm sure that's not what you're saying, but there's levels to it. You know what I mean?
You can ask somebody, how you feeling today? And let that person say, I'm good. Or, child, it's a struggle. Or whatever they're going to say. But when you know, like, you got a headache, how you feeling? Or what the doctor saying? What's this, what's that? You don't have to tell everybody what the doctor's saying. They ain't everybody's business. Now, my mother, she gonna ask me a million questions, but just somebody on Facebook or somebody that might hit you in the inbox, don't ask people all them questions because they're gonna tell you what they want you
What
to
they
know.
want you to know. Gotcha.
Because people know, like every now and then I put something, you know, I'm good for deleting stuff. I don't want all my business out there forever. But I'll put something down every now and again. And one of my girlfriends hit me up in the inbox and was like, what did you feel like in the beginning? Because I have pain, like I get a lot of headaches. So I explained that it's not a headache, it's different. But at the end of the day, get that checked out. Most of our problems, we scared to go to the doctor. And see, like she said, Tamara said she's don't like needles. I go to the doctor now and I'm like, here, look, you better hit it, get it right, you know. And it is what it is. Because what you gonna do? Die? And that's what I tell some people, like, carry your ass to the doctor and stop, you know, waiting to see if something gonna go away because you might go away with it.
Gotcha.
Especially y'all men. Y'all men need to go get y'all prostate checked.
Colonoscopies.
Oh, yes. It don't take but 30 minutes. And stop being scared. Ain't nobody playing with your booty.
Nah, he ain't playing with my booty. He going in my booty. That's not
It
playing.
don't matter. You ain't
That's
gonna
not
know it.
playing.
You'll be asleep. You gonna be asleep. But at the end of the day, it'll keep you here longer for your family and friends. You gotta think.
That's the only way I get to be here longer.
I'm just
No,
saying,
I'm just joking. I know it's something serious. And
yeah,
brothers, we do have to get better than that, myself included, because I haven't reached that mental barrier yet. You know what I mean? But I do know that I'm at the age where I need to get it done.
Yep, and these sisters need to get mammograms. Amen.
Amen.
Yeah, now that's definitely.
Yeah, you know.
All right, so did you have anything for us in the wrap up, Tamara?
Just early detection is the best detection in everything that you do.
Yeah.
Fear could be your worst enemy. But if you like Noelle said, if you want to live, you have to be an advocate for yourself first, put yourself first, and trust God. I had Pastor Charles Jones used to say, if you scared, then do it scared, but get it done. Yep. And pray all the time. And just know that God will have your back and he will have you and guide you. Ask for wisdom, ask for strength, ask for understanding as you go into the doctor's office and with anything. Don't sit and let things escalate and just sit on it. And then when you go to the doctor, it's too late. And then now you have to hear the doctor say that there's nothing else that we can do for you. Yeah. When just sometimes just a matter of 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, they could have did everything for you. So, you know, don't let fear is your worst enemy, and fear will stop you from living. And so you can't do that. So you want to live, you want to choose life, you have family, you have kids, treat yourself right.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
I like that. And like I said, Tamara, when you get a chance, the show is gonna be on my page. It never leaves my page. So when you get a chance, please go back and put in the comments the information about the walks and stuff, and ways that people can actually support the different causes and whatever.
Yeah.
And and if you want to, you can put ways to get in touch with you as well.
Yeah.
So like I say, I thank you for your time. Know that I love you, girl. I appreciate you. What you got for us, Noelle, during the wrap up?
I'm done. If anybody have any questions or anything, they can go in my inbox, or I'm not gonna say I doubt they have this, but if anybody's dealing with anything, I'm always willing to talk. So I don't want anybody to take it like I don't want anybody to ask me any questions, but I'm always willing, ready to give information to anybody that needs it. Because, some people just may be scared to talk about certain things.
Right.
No doubt. And do you still do your thing?
What you talking about?
Don't you was doing the walk too?
Oh, well, yeah, every year my brother and I do this charity basketball game, but not this year. So I'm kind of bummed out about that. But the proceeds do go to Susan G. Komen. So hopefully, with this coronavirus, it'll go away, or I don't even know if my brother's planning on anything later on in the year, but that's like, despite me having the trigeminal neuralgia, that's one of my biggest, I know more people that have passed away and that are fighting and surviving breast cancer. So that's one of our, that's our main charity.
Yeah. And like I said, keep me posted on that if y'all get anything past. Like, we all sick of COVID, but you know, at the end of the day, it's gonna be defeated just like everything else. We just gotta give it time. You know, I'm not saying giving it time is gonna make it go anywhere, but it will be defeated.
Amen.
That much I do know. So I want to thank you ladies for your time tonight. I want to thank you guys that tuned in. Just like I said, these shows do not go anywhere. So please, please, please go back throughout the week and watch it. Anybody that you know that has been diagnosed or have been going through any things, or is just experiencing different health issues that they don't know that they are, have them watch this with you. You know what I mean? Encourage them to watch it, convince them to watch it. So hopefully it will lead to awareness and them going to get themselves checked out. And hopefully, like Tamara said, the earlier you get diagnosed, the better off it is. Because then you have something to work with and something to fight with. So I want to appreciate you ladies. I thank you for your time. I know that I love you. When we came on tonight, I gave an anniversary shout out to Val and Everett Wilson. So in closing, I want to give a special shout out. I was informed today because my timeline was just blowing up and I've been getting all kind of texts. I want to congratulate my oldest son, DeAndre, and now his fiance, Legina.
Okay.
They're becoming the Bennetts. I pray that God prosper you guys and keep you guys. Legina, welcome to the family. And like I said, I just pray God keep you guys and you guys keep him first and let him lead you and guide you. And you can't go wrong. So with all that being said, I look forward to seeing you guys next week. And as usual, in closing, DeAndre and Lisha, know that Daddy loves you intentionally, but I also love you unconditionally. Till next week, peace.
All right. Don't call me tonight. I don't feel like talking. Take care, Tamara.
I'm calling you right now.
All right, you too, Noelle.
All right.
All right, T.
Bye-bye.
All right, love you, Marvin.
Love you too, girl.